Hi everybody. Hello. Hi. Hi everyone. Hi. Thank you for being here. Hi Prachi. Hello. Hello Anjali. Hi Vrinda. Hi. Hi guys. Thank you for being here. Hi, the sparkling vibe. Hey, how are you? Yes, I am good. Hi. Hi guys, hi guys. So I am Ekta Alreja and I'm deputy editor with PopExo and I'm back with this live with our founder and CEO Priyanka Gill. And today in today's live session we are going to talk about how to build your professional brand. So I'm going to wait for a few more seconds for people to join in because this is quite an insightful session. Hi, Megha from Kenya. Hi. Hi, Vani. Hi. Good to see you too, Angelina. Hi. Hi everyone. Okay, thank you for joining us today. So today we are going to talk about how to build your professional brand with our founder and CEO Priyanka Gill. And so guys, I always presume that if I am good at work, that's good at my work, that's enough. I always assume that if I work hard, the quality and the impact would be obvious. However, a few weeks ago, my boss told me that if no one else in the company or outside the company knows about your work accomplishments, then those achievements don't count for much. That was kind of an awakening for me, and that's where professional branding comes in. So she told me, even if you are a good employee, and even if you are good at your job, you must learn to think, act and plan like a business leader. So that's what professional branding is. And so today, our founder and CEO Priyanka Gill is going to give us an insight into why should you really care about building your professional brand. So let's take her online, let's add her, and let's start with this live today. Okay.
She's gonna take a few seconds to be here. Hi, PJ, how are you?
Hi, Ekta. How you doing? Hi, everyone.
So, PJ, how are you doing today? I hope you did not
I
have a busy day.
probably one of my favorite AMA topics that we've had so far because I'm really working hard on all of my team to be listening to this and to be taking this seriously. And they don't do that, guys. You are not the only one. My team is equally bad. So I'm hoping that some of our team members are here as well and they're here to listen because it's extremely
No, of course they are.
to think about building out your professional brand, right? And I
Yeah.
would really enjoy talking about that with all of you.
So, I was just talking to our viewers, PG, that how important it is to build your professional brand, how important it is to manage your professional reputation outside, online and offline. So, let me start today's session by asking you, what does it really mean to build your professional brand?
You know, today all of us are online, right? And especially if you are in an industry like in media, in digital media, if you're in influencer marketing, if you're in a company like PopExo, all of us are online and our assets, our Instagram profile, our LinkedIn profile, all of these are visible to people who are working with us and who will hire us and people who are even working for us as well, right? Whatever these assets show is what they think of you, right? Remember, most people don't know you, most people have not met you, most people will probably not even meet you, right? Their only opinion
Yeah.
of you is through what they see on your social profiles, right? And most of
True.
us post very randomly on social, right? So if today I'm in a smoothie, I'm doing a smoothie, and if Ekta is exercising, then she's exercising, and if whatever you're doing, it's just a random stream of consciousness posting method that we apply to social media. Now imagine if we as a company, as PopExo, applied that to our social media posting, right? It would be chaos. No one would know what PopExo stood for. No one would know what PopExo meant. No one would know anything, right? It just wouldn't work. So the care that we take to planning our social media for PopExo a similar amount of care should be taken to be planning your own social media profile with the view that someone who's looking at it probably could be someone who could be my employer one day. Someone could be interviewing me one day as well, right? So paying attention to how you project yourself in the world, right? Imagine that you're having a great time and you're partying with your friends and you're posting lots of photographs, and tomorrow you have this huge important job interview.
Oh my
90
God.
Imagine the probability that the person interviewing you has been through your profile, right? And they're like, okay, and then
Yeah.
tired, your energy is low, and they know why your energy is low, right? So paying attention to all of this is something that you should be very aware of. And that's just Instagram, what I'm talking about right now. It gets even more
Okay.
when you go onto LinkedIn. Now, this is personal experience. I never took care of my own LinkedIn profile, right? It was just there randomly at some point. I must have created it at like 3 a.m. at night, and that was done, right? And I never bothered to update it. I never bothered to do anything with it. And that is such a huge miss. It was a huge miss on my part. I recently updated my own LinkedIn profile, and I have seen the impact of that. It's enormous, right? People really begin to take you seriously. They have a clear view of who you are. They know what you do. They know what your accomplishments are. It's basically a calling card. And with that LinkedIn profile, you can reach out to anyone and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this. And they will respond because they know who you are, right? So this whole
Okay.
of professional branding is telling the world who you are. And all of us are professionals in this world now, right? Social media is no longer for your best friend and my best friend to hang out, right? It's still that. But
Right.
even more so, it's become a professional space. Instagram is even becoming a professional space right now as well, right? Facebook, although not so much, I guess, anymore. But definitely Instagram and LinkedIn are two key spaces.
LinkedIn.
And even Twitter, if you're on Twitter as well, right? I always check to see if the person I'm interviewing is on Twitter. I want to know what they say. And I remember
Right.
one time there was this one person and very, very extreme views on Twitter. I didn't take that interview. I'm like, look, I'm not going to want to hire this person. If this is what this person really thinks on Twitter, I'm not going there, right? So decisions get
Right.
taken. You don't even know why a decision is taken. And it's all because of the projection that you're giving onto social media. When I realized that, I remember I just cleaned out all my profiles, any photographs that I didn't want a partner, an investor, an employer looking for of me. I just hid them. I made them private to myself. So that doing that MOT on your own social media profiles is probably the first step that we all should do. Literally go down your social media profile, scroll back as much as you can, just archive away things that you don't want, that don't reflect the person you are today, right? I'm not the same person I was when I first signed up onto Instagram many, many years ago. I'm a different person now, right? So I really want to make sure
Right.
everything that you're seeing of me is as current as it should be, right? It's not disingenuous. It's just a way of practically managing your projection into the professional world. So as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about this, right? So Prachi,
Yeah. So PJ, as soon, yeah.
we come to questions, Prachi, but that's a good question.
Yeah, is it good? Yeah, we'll come to the question later. Prati has already asked you questions. So as soon as this live gets over, PJ, I'm going to clean up my Instagram. Thank you for all those tips. So PJ, what I want to ask over here is that isn't being good enough at your job enough? Like, why do you need a professional? Why do you need professional branding, and how does it help?
See, there are many reasons to do that, right? One, it's a record of what you did, right? So like I tell my team that, you write these amazing articles, you produce these awesome videos, but you don't brand,
Yeah.
right? You really don't. And that makes no sense to me. I'll give you an example, right? We have this property on PopX called PopX of Women Who Win, right? And
Yes.
Kanika interviewed Shraddha Sharma, who is the founder of Your Story, which is a massive, massive thing. And Shraddha is
Of
this
course.
huge influencer on LinkedIn, right? So Kashika, of course, did nothing about it, right? She's not that active. And despite my many, many reminders to her, I hope she's listening. I really hope she's listening today.
Yeah.
And, but as I do, I posted that, hey, Shraddha, I posted that story. Shraddha commented, and my LinkedIn blew up, right? Just by Shraddha,
Oh, wow.
my LinkedIn, it blew up. And Shraddha is that powerful on LinkedIn, right? So someone
Of course, yes, she's.
taken the effort of writing the story, of interviewing and impressing Shraddha. And Shraddha told me she was very impressed by Kashika. She did all that. But when push came to shove, she pushed publish on the story and she just didn't talk about it on LinkedIn, right? And who would
Oh,
know that happened, and who would know that Shraddha thought well of her? So all of those things just get lost. So in real time, you need to be updating your assets to reflect what you're doing and to celebrate your accomplishments. You have friends, you have well-wishers, you have family on LinkedIn, right? All of this is, and on Instagram as well. So saying I did this cool thing is a good thing because they want to celebrate you as well. And they want to know what you do, right? I bet you for most of us, our family and parents, and they don't know really know what to do. Oh, yeah, kuch likhti hai. That's probably the maximum about you. So the more
Yeah.
thing, the more they will see. It's just a good thing. It's a good record of what you're doing. It becomes a good reference point when you want to go and talk to maybe a future employer about what you have done, right? And say you want to, I've just applied and I got into my MBA course, my executive MBA course at Columbia and LBS, right? All of that was because they observed all my profiles, they knew who I was, and then and then I got in.
Right.
It matters. So you cannot underestimate the benefits of managing, curating, and creating a cohesive professional persona into the world. This is who you are. This is what's going to make you money. Mismanaging your professional branding is going to cost you money. It's as simple as that, right? So yeah, please take
So,
charge of it and do it.
so PG, what I'm gathering over here is that your brand is all about who you are and what you do. So what is like that's a pretty broad concept. So what is the first step towards building your professional brand?
See, it's important to it's who you are, it's what you do, but more importantly, it's where you want to be, right? So
Okay.
having that idea, look, in 5 years down the line, I want to be X, and then you can work backwards, and everything you do, all the steps you do are they're a movement towards that X point that you want to reach, right? So the content that you create for yourself on your own personal handles and profiles, it's a reflection of what you are in the moment, but it's also looking towards what you want to become. For example, say you wanted to become um I don't know, the editor of Kashika's job is that, but the editor of a really large kind of a platform, right? And maybe that's what you wanted to become, right? In the future. So
Yeah.
I was hiring for that role. I look to see how good is she on social media herself, because if she's not good on social media herself, why would I allow her
Yeah, yeah.
charge of this very valuable property that I have? Is she good at creating content for her own self first, right? Even for that senior role, I would still look to that, right? Is she are there any typos on her LinkedIn, right? Any writer, any editor, if the typos on your own LinkedIn, it's not a good thing. So if you're preparing for that role, you need to start kind of preparing now and making sure that you're talking
Yeah.
now, you're doing it in real time, and you never know who's watching, right? So many times I've kind of gone to someone's profile, say, I really like you, we are looking for this role, why don't you come and apply for it? And they've joined as well, right? So when you're putting out all this information about yourself, you really don't know who's listening and who's watching. That's the beauty and the joy of
True.
media. That's the beauty and joy of LinkedIn, right? There's so many interesting accounts that I follow now on LinkedIn. They just put out the most amazing content, and I learn something whenever I read that content. If tomorrow, if I'm hiring for that role, these people are top of mind because they're constantly posting, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you don't know who's listening. So this is your opportunity to put your best foot forward, brand yourself like the kick-ass professional that you are, and let the world listen. And I mean, great things happen.
But what if PG you were just starting out? Is it? I mean, should you focus on becoming someone, becoming more successful, and then starting your professional brand, or you can just go ahead with it?
See, honestly, if you're starting out, it's even more important, right? When you're starting out, you don't have a body of work to show for your accomplishments, right? So when you're starting out, literally the only thing I have to go by you is your social media profile, especially if I'm hiring for a content role. Imagine you're starting out, right?
Yeah.
I know nothing about you. All I can see is she good on social media or not, right? Can she kind of create interesting content or not? Is her content engaging, right? So it becomes even more important, right? And especially on LinkedIn and stuff, there's so many professional courses you can do. There are other things that you can show that
Hmm.
you are an interested, you are a curious person, you are challenging yourself intellectually. It could be starting out, it does not matter, but you can still put this profile together of yourself that is projecting forward to what you want to be, but also reflects that today you are an engaged, thinking person that is actively creating content for herself that puts that showcases her best qualities. Like your strong suit might not be creating kick-ass graphics. That might be the strong suit of a graphic designer. Their profile should be amazing
Yeah.
on, right? Every week we launch something new. And I was saying this to Anshul, who is our deputy head of design. I was like, Anshul, every week you launch a campaign. I don't hear that on LinkedIn, right? I don't see about that. So I know you've done it because I'm there, right? But other people don't know.
Yeah, right.
Really amazing graphic. So putting that all out together consistently over time is what builds up your brand as a professional, and is what actually adds a lot of value to you as as a professional person as well.
So, PG, what are the things that you should keep in mind while you're developing your brand? How can you make it stand out? And because there are so many people on LinkedIn, on Instagram. So, how can you work towards making it different?
See, honestly, I don't think it's important to be different. I think it's important to be authentic, right? It should be a true reflection
Right.
of who you are. The way you are is basically what an amplified and amped up version of that is basically what you need to be showing out there, right? I don't particularly care. Your posts don't need to go viral. They just need to be consistent over a long period of time. I think the key word here is consistency, right? Some people post like one post here, one post there. So if you're really taking it seriously, plan it out, right? Say, okay, I'm going to post thrice a week and this is what I'm going to do, right? Stories are fine. In stories, you can wish your happy birthdays and best friends hanging out. That's probably fine because those kind of, they go away, and that's okay. You can think about that. But you really need to be paying attention to how often will you post, and what am I, ask yourself, I'm posting this, is this something that's authentic to me? Like, for example, suddenly I start posting about coding, right? Coding is not something,
Hmm.
I'm not a tech person. It's not something authentic to me. So it's very disingenuous of me to kind of start kind of suddenly kind of have a love for something that I really don't, right? So as long as
Right.
you're writing about what is important to you and you're doing it in a true voice, that's basically what that matters. I don't care about you being different at that point.
So give us some more insight over here. Let's take your personal example, PG. Tell us, when did you start building your own brand, professional brand?
See, honestly, for me, I think from the beginning, I think I was already unconsciously doing some of that. So then I had kind of that moment when I thought, okay, I need to really kind of clean up, and frankly, all the party girl photos of yesteryears need to actually kind of die down a bit, because that is not kind of the brand that I want to project right now. So I did that one cleanup, I think many years ago. But as a professional, I really kind of did not. I was not. I mean, I was doing some. Or, I mean, Popx was doing this, and same. We merged with my glams. All of those posts were happening, but there was not really anything about me as a person as much, right? What do I think? What do I care about? That's something that I only started thinking on very recently, right? And I actually spoke to a lot of great people and got a lot of good insight. And I'm blessed that I have such fantastic professionals around me as well. So I am really working hard at myself as well, and that's something you owe to yourself. I always thought I have to work hard for my company, which I of course have to do. In that, I think it benefits
Right.
the company even more if you're working hard on yourself as well. Imagine if all my writers, all my editors, social media people, all my graphic designers, everyone was kick-ass on LinkedIn. It would just make the
Hmm.
company seem so much better as a collective, right? Not only are you doing yourself a disservice by not being active and not kind of showcasing your work out there and kind of drawing insight from your work for other people, but you're actually doing your company a disservice. If I were to find someone in the PopX or MyGlam universe and Plixo universe who was good on LinkedIn, I would know and I would value those people, right?
Hmm.
They are the ones who are talking about what you are doing, right? And they become
Right.
even more valuable to me when I'm come appraisal time, right? I
Mhm.
For Ekta, I will think Ekta is doing the video, the exercise series, which is above and beyond her job description. That's valuable to me as a brand. If tomorrow those videos were to stop, I'd have to think about how can I kind of get someone else to do it as well. So it increases your brand value because you're doing these things, right? So you have to
Hmm.
think about kind of the long-term view. It's good for the company if you're doing this. It's definitely good for you if you're doing it, and your employer will
Of
notice.
course. So, Vijay, while we are talking about your professional brand, tell us, like, let's just give us a few examples of things that you considered before you decided to shape your professional brand.
See, I thought very hard because I'm passionate about a lot of things, right? But I really
Hmm.
what are the key things that I really care the most about? And that basically, I mean, became the cornerstone of what I would consider like my professional brand, right? So I really care about getting women to awesome places in their life, right? I want more women to be entrepreneurs. I want more women to be in the C-suites. I want them to be CXOs. I mean, all the amazing women who work with me and men who work with me to be really, really better professionals, right? If I want to send you out into the world one day and knowing that you've been better for it because you worked at Popexo, right? Because you worked at Plixo, because you worked at MyGlam. So I'm really passionate about that, right? So that I used as my kind of my center stone about what I wanted to do. And from that is basically where I kind of began my kind of the planning for what I was thinking. Guys, can you just hold on for just a moment, guys? Just one moment. Can you hold on?
Yeah.
Pranav.
Okay, I'm gonna take a few questions after this as soon as PG is back. Okay, we have quite a lot of questions over here. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were we?
So PG, should we? Now you were telling us how the things that you considered
Yeah.
yourself while you were
I
thinking about shaping your
wondered
brand.
what was I mean, my passions is basically what I want to project, right? Like if you would have recently seen my Instagram or would have seen what I'm doing, I recently kind of put up a website about myself, right? Which I thought was such a self-promotional thing to do. But having said that, I've had such wonderful response to the website, you know. So certain things that you kind of you shy away from, and I just wish I'd done that years ago. It would save me so many kind of explanations of who am I and stuff. Like most people have now seen it and they, oh, I saw your website and I know exactly what you do. It's lovely,
Yeah.
right? So think about like if you are a designer, have a Behance, have some place where you're constantly updating your portfolio. Even if you're a writer, make sure that all your links are sitting in some place where if someone wanted to see that everything that Ekta has written, it can come together. So there's so many different technologies out there that you can use,
Right.
right? And even in terms of
Hmm.
content, etc., I would always talk about the fact that I really wanted people to become better professionals. And I thought, hey, let's just create content about that. And even that is
Hmm.
so well received as well right now, right? So it's just about
Right.
figuring out what is yours, what is your passion, and then really kind of focusing your energy of your kind of your professional branding on that.
Hmm. So, PJ, since you spoke about your own website and self-promotion, I would like to ask you here is what kind of content should you put out on your professional brand? Because there are multiple platforms. There's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's so much. So, should it be like self-promotional? Should it be educational or entertaining? What kind of content should you really put out?
See, anything that's overtly self-promotional is very rarely going to work, right? Unless it's a really big
Hmm.
news, it's not really going to get much reaction, right? So don't, I mean, that makes no sense. But if you can find a broader truth in what you do that might be relevant to more people, for example, say I mean, how you write a story, how you ideate, how did you come up with the idea? So anything that you do, if you're sharing it, but other people can learn from it, or you give some tips or some instances or an insight on that, if you just write the caption appropriately, that's helpful. So content that you
Right.
be helpful. It should be a way of sharing your expertise. All of us have expertise, right? And all of us have experiences and expertise that is different from other people, right? Being able to showcase that in a way, like I. Neha Agarwal was our head of SEO at Popix, and now she's doing
Yeah.
a job currently on LinkedIn where she's really showcasing her skills as an SEO expert, and she's doing a fab job.
Right.
So there are so many different people who are doing a great job. It's just a matter of just spending some time and saying, okay, I like this. I want to be seen as an expert in this area. Let me see what content
Hmm.
that's helpful to other people that would enhance that perception.
Right. So, BG, while we're talking about content here, I'm going to take a few questions. So, Prachi has a question that how she's asking, how do we start planning our own content?
See again, Prachi, I mean, of course, you are an expert. You are an expert at this, honey. So I mean, thank you for asking
Yeah.
for the broader universe. But yeah, it's literally just whatever comes naturally to you, do that, right? If spontaneous videos don't come naturally to me, right? So that's never going to be
Hmm.
my broader kind of content strategy. I like writing, right? So I mean, some words will always be part of it, right? So whatever comes naturally to you, just plan that. Just think about consistency. So are you going to post on a regular kind of basis so people know what you're doing? And think about authenticity, that this is going to be authentic to who I am as a person. I'm not going to do something that is not me, basically, right? And then, of course, remember, you break it up, and if something cool is happening, or if you've seen something cool, like certain people are very good curators of other people's content, and that's also very valuable, right? For example, I have a friend, Faria. Faria's Instagram is basically the best news that you ever want to know at that point, right? So I make sure just to go through it, just to make sure what is she kind of reading, and that's interesting for me. She's not creating that content; she's just simply curating it, right? So that's interesting.
Right.
Or, for example, if I'm kind of looking at this, the influencers do a great job at that, right? So sometimes, like this is I forget whose feed it was. The dupes that are not beauty dupes that are not worth the money. I think it was Vasudha Rai's feed. Amazing, right? I really want to know, and that was outsourced content, right? So you can come up with some ways of showcasing your expertise, interest, etc., and it's just interesting for people.
Yeah, sometimes even AMAs make for such good content. So, PG, another question from Prachi here is,
good idea to have two accounts, a public and a private account. A lot of people do that. So, is it really a good idea to have that kind
I would highly recommend that you have two accounts, right? Because I have
okay.
been known to walk up, hey, your account is not, you need to be posting about this and you're not, or whatever. So your boss will expect you to post for the company, etc. So that's requirement, right? So if you're a very private person, I would strongly recommend you have two, but most people are not able to maintain two. I had two as well, right? So I thought this would be my private, this would be my professional. I don't think I updated in my private account for many, many, many years now. So it just all become one. So please have two.
Okay.
Hard to keep two up.
Yeah, of course. So while we're talking about content, PG, everyone says that your content there has to be quality content, it has to be interactive, it has to be engaging. So could you give us a few hacks to create engaging content that can help our viewers today?
So engaging content, what is engaging content, right? It's engaging content is something that gets a reaction from people.
Yeah.
Right? And there's so many things that get a reaction from people. It could be something that makes me laugh, something that makes me smile, something that makes me think. That is a definition of engaging content, right? So wherever your expertise lies, wherever your interest content that you create. What's really boring is to create like Me Too content. Like, oh, okay, everyone's doing this, I'm also going to do this. So that is not. So you have a point of view that's unique to you as a person, right? That is what you need to be showcasing. And if you do that consistently, you do, and with practice, you get better at it, right? So the formula for creating engaging content is different because I don't know your DNA, right? I know Popexo's DNA, so we know what engaging Popexo, right? We know our own DNA. I know what I do this is probably engaging to people who follow me, right? So you will discover that over time. So do experiment, try different formats, see what works. So there is no one, if there was a one set formula to create engaging content, then all of us would be doing it, right? It's hard. It takes practice and it takes kind of just observing the reaction of, for example, I put up a post yesterday on Instagram. It just didn't work. The color background was wrong and all that. So I went back and thought, okay, maybe next time when I do it, I'm going to do it differently right now, right? So just kind of stick your own kind of what you're putting out there and learning from it.
Right. So, Vijay, if you're talking about Instagram, and now if we talk about the number of followers, so sometimes you have you have 3-4K followers and you are posting quality content, but it doesn't really work. Your number of followers don't really go up. So does that number really matter? How should you go about it? Should you be consistent about posting quality content? I mean, what if you're just looking at increasing your followers?
It depends on why you're doing it, right? If you are an influencer, hi Nandi, I love you too. I just saw it. If you're doing it as an influencer, right? It's a different job. Then it's your job. Then you should figure out ways and hacks to grow your content, be it collaborations, being it talking to other people and whatever it is, right? So that is kind of different. There's so many different tools. Instagram is there to make you grow your following. So there's no excuse for growing your following if you're an influencer. If you're producing consistently over time and you're telling me your followers not increasing, I don't believe you, right? That's not going to happen. So that's not even possible. But if you're a normal person who's not an influencer, who just wants to kind of create content because her professional brand and she likes it, just do it consistently over time. You don't need the 10,000 followers, right? Because you're not an influencer. So I think this whole kind of idea, oh, I need so many influencers. Like this other friend of mine, Mehak, she runs this account called Chocolate and Chai. I think she probably has sub
Okay.
5,000 followers, but she creates amazing recipes and content. And there's this dedicated band of her followers who love what she creates, and they go on her lives, and she's engaging like thousands of people still. She might not have 10,000 followers, but that's okay, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
why you're doing it and what you're doing, right? And really being authentic and true to what you're doing is the most important thing. And not trying to do too much as well, right? Just kind of consistently doing something over time. It compounds, and compounding is the most beautiful principle in the whole universe, right? If you do make a change that even a 0.1% of your self you change every single day, by the time it's a year down, you would have changed most of yourself, right? So yeah, so don't get
So
upset.
there is what I'm gathering from what you're saying is that there has to be some kind of personality that goes into your professional brand as well. So, Didi, how does one connect with people on a personal level and keep it professional as well?
Again, see, I mean, I keep using the same word over and over again, and it's just being authentic, right? um
Yeah,
it just, I mean, as long as you're that, people will connect. I mean, it's a big wide world of billions of people out there, right? You're not looking for so many people, you're just looking to find a few people that you connect with, right? And it's a two,
right.
it's not just about putting out content, it's about also going to other people's content. It's also about appreciating what they're doing as well, right? I mean, paying a compliment to someone is the easiest thing for us to do, but it's the best thing you can do for the other person, and it costs you nothing. It's just about being nice, right? So if you are liking someone's content, if you're engaging with it, just go and just say that publicly, right? For me, one of my pet peeves is that people privately will say things to you, but they don't want to say it publicly.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I mean, I love it that you're telling me that you like what I'm doing privately, but it would mean so much more to me if you were to just say,
If you share,
and no matter
yeah.
who you are as a person, like it impacts me. It impacted me when I was starting out. It will always impact us. So I always make it a point, if I see something cool or interesting, I will publicly go and kind of shout it out. And why not, right? So having that generosity of spirit when you're looking at
Hmm.
content and just kind of just even liking, commenting, sharing, that's the best way that you can appreciate and encourage and help any kind of budding entrepreneurs in your family, anyone that you know, right? That little gesture actually means a lot. So taking time out, even on LinkedIn, to go out, finding interesting pieces of content and actually saying, adding your little bit to it. And that's important.
Hmm.
I mean, it costs nothing, and that's what actually increases the circle of people who are in your professional world.
So, Biju, while we're talking about LinkedIn, I have a question here to ask, which I think is a really important question. So, on LinkedIn, it's a big professional network. What matters the most? Is it your connections or the kind of content you share on LinkedIn?
It's a mixture of both, right? So your content that you create increases your connections, and there's no two ways about it. The more interactive you are on LinkedIn increases your connections, right? So it's actually a very
Hmm.
simple form. It's just about being a nice person. Just think about it, right? What is the definition of a nice person? A nice person is appreciative, a nice person is
Yeah.
a nice person is friendly, and a nice person is open about herself, right? So it's just about being a nice person on LinkedIn, right? And just being an authentic person.
Right.
And really, a nice person shares about herself, right? If there's something that I know, I don't want to hold it to myself. I'd like to share it so other people can know that as well, right?
Hmm.
Just kind of extending that kind of concept of niceness is basically what makes social media work, right? Instagram is built on that. LinkedIn is built on that. It's about making the other person feel good. The other person feels good if you
Yeah.
some knowledge with them, if you make them laugh, if you make them cry, if you make them smile, and if you can appreciate what they're doing. So, I mean,
Right.
be it a professional space or be it a personal space, it's still the principles of human nature are still the same.
Right. So while we are talking about so many emotions, what I would want like to ask you over here is, PG, even I have seen it a lot, especially on LinkedIn. People share their failures a lot. So what kind of message that sends out to your audience?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of days ago. I forget her name. This is a young a woman who had applied for, I think, 6 of the Ivy Leagues in the US. And she shared 6
Oh,
rejection letters, right? It was so sad. It was heartbreaking. And then she said,
yeah. Oh my
oh, all
God.
my friends are sharing all these kind of celebratory kind of messages that I got in, and I didn't get in anywhere, right? Now,
Yeah.
seemed like a failure post, but that got so much. I mean, I really felt, I felt bad for her. And went on and I said that on her profile as well. And it just got so much reactions. It's when failure is reality, right? I mean, sharing successes is easy, right? And but actually being vulnerable is the hardest thing in the world to do. I find it hard. I mean, I find it impossible to be vulnerable, right? I'm designed to project kind of this optimism in life, right? That's me. I mean, for me to be vulnerable in a space, I mean, I find it hard. So I really respect people who can be vulnerable. I think it's great, but just do it authentically, right? Just don't do it in a way that you can tell that this person is trying to, just be in failure. As long as you're doing it with kind of a true kind of feeling behind it, absolutely. And I find it hard to do. So I do really respect people who can do it well.
Yeah. So, PG, while we're talking about LinkedIn, I would like to ask you, there are so many discussions that happen on social media platforms, not just LinkedIn, even on Instagram. So how important, so if you are building your professional brand, if you want your voice to be known, how important it is for you to jump into discussions and, add your take to it?
Again, you got to judge the space and see what kind of discussion is happening. If you really have something valuable to add, please go ahead and do that. I think Quora is one of the unrealized spaces of opportunity out there right now, right? So, I mean, Quora has awesome SEO and everything that you do, and Medium and Quora both, right? So there's so many spaces where you can go and have voice. Of course, we all can't have a voice on all those spaces because we need to do a full-time job as well. But just pick and choose what you're doing. And I think there's no set answer to that, right? If you feel that you have something to add, by all means, go ahead and do that.
Right. So I'm going to take a few questions here, Piju. We have got a lot of questions. So so Neha is asking that is it important? Is it important? So will sharing content only will work when we aren't good at networking? So then you're not good at networking. Does it work if you only share content?
So if you're not good at networking, as in you're not able to network with people on LinkedIn, and then you only share content. See, I think
this is what this is
a multi-way street, right? It's not hard to be good in connecting with people. It's not hard, right? It's commenting on people's profiles, whatever, right? So it's not hard. So sharing content, of course, is a good thing. But yeah, please do try and get better at connecting with people. I mean, it's important. It's a very, very key part of your professional brand.
Okay, we have another question. Okay, so can you discuss something about the type of content you should share on LinkedIn?
Again, see, I mean, I've already answered that, right? So whatever's authentic to you, whatever's your expertise, whatever you think is of the moment, like that cred ad that I loved, right? Guy is a genius, right? And it wasn't my brand, but I just think that, when cred is cool for India. So yeah, so it's just sharing content that you find interesting. And so you might have an expertise in it. You might have a point of view in it. It might be an announcement that you want to make. It might be a move that you're making. It might be something really cool that you've done at work. Share all of that by all means.
We have a question by Anshul. It's about the website. So can you please guide on how to gather more audience for your website and build it as a brand?
I think that's a whole other topic, right? I think maybe we
should
the AMA. So listen, the internet is your best friend, and pretty much and Google optimizes for the best content. So whatever, if you were to put that into Google, the top links that you see probably would have the best advice for you. And what I'm going to say is not going to be very different, but actually the principles of building out content for a website and for yourself or anything is the same, right? Consistency, authenticity, and having a point of view. So as long as you have those things, then of course, then comes distribution, right? How are you going to distribute the content that you've created? And actually the magic in increasing audience is actually not so much in content creation. That's important, but actually the magic lies in distribution. So how do you look at all the different other channels where you can actually put your content forward to get more audiences to it?
Okay, so PG, I have a question which is about LinkedIn. So most of the time when you're looking at your career growth, a lot of people think that the only social media platform worth spending time on is LinkedIn. But are there any other platforms? Can you go beyond LinkedIn when you are looking for your career growth as a whole?
It depends on what is your job, right?
Right.
So if in your case, your job is to be you're a digital writer, right? So social media is your world. So then you have all the social media platforms open to you, right? So imagine if you were an actor, then YouTube would be your platform, right? So there's so many. I know that people, when TikTok was there, people just got hired off TikTok, right? We were huge on TikTok, and I want them to be in my company, and then you get hired, right? So it really depends on what your job is. For example, say you are a coder, you're a programmer. Reddit might be showing your authority on Reddit might be a good thing, right? Or going kind of answering technical questions on Quora, right? So there are different places that you can find for yourself where you can show your expertise, and you can use that as examples, right? So for example, you were really powerful on Quora. That's amazing, right? So it depends
Yeah.
what your job is and where are people looking for information on your job there. For example, I don't know, if you were say you are a customer service person, right? You basically are there to kind of respond to customer service questions. So you can really go to other platforms where people ask those questions and actually kind of build out your thing there. And then when you go for a job, say, I'm really good at this, right? So all of these can become proof of what you are. So it's not hard to find spaces where you might be valuable. So really depending on what your job is, you definitely, for you, I would definitely say, look, Instagram is your best friend. YouTube actually,
Yeah, of course.
now that you're doing so many videos as well. LinkedIn, of course, right? LinkedIn goes without saying. So yeah, all of those.
Wow, then I really have a lot of work to do actually. So Peter, that this was
This is not
quite, this is
what you do on Saturdays and Sundays, just to put it out there.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I have to do that now. Because this was a very informational and insightful session. I'm gonna end it on a light note, and I'm going to take a fun question from the audience. So somebody is asking you, when you started working out, did you imagine that you would reach here?
When I started working, as in my job,
Yeah, when you started.
I don't know. See, honestly, goals, I think, are a very expandable thing in life, right? I remember I've mentioned this, I think, previously as well. I was having dinner with a friend of mine in London, and it's just the two of us. And I go, oh my God, there are 500 people on my website right now. It's amazing, right? And like, you're laughing because you know that there's so many more people.
Yeah.
But that just seemed like an amazing thing at that point. And then I remember in one of our very early team meetings, guys, if we hit 1 million users, we are like there. We've like really made it. And now, like the month you guys hit 1 million users, I'm going to kill you guys because 1 million is nothing now, right? So
Right.
goals are always they get bigger the better you get. So yeah. So to answer your question, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's amazing to be where I am right now, and I'm immensely grateful to the universe and to all the kind of amazing people who helped kind of me get here. But there's so much more to do. Like, like
Yeah.
the work.
It's a never-ending thing.
Yeah, it's never ending. But I think in hindsight, the trick is to enjoy the journey, right? And especially
Yeah.
putting my head together. Palki was working with me on that. Kind of we unearthed so many memories. You forget 7 years is such a long time to be doing something. And we came across the first photographs of the first party in the office, and it kind of just triggered so many memories. So I mean, anyone who's on this journey, I would just say, listen, just keep a record. Just keep those things together. Because when you're kind of looking at it 5, 7, 8 years down the line, you will not remember. But it's those triggers that will actually make you feel so good about where you got to. We came across the first graphic that we had ever created about how big we are. And this is, of course, we were small at the time, but it was so beautifully designed, and kind of everything becomes a memory trigger at that point. So, I mean, the past few months have been awesome, right? I mean, just kind of looking back slightly, getting the website together, and it's a great place to be. But yeah, there's so much more to do, and all of us have such big goals for PopExo, for Plixo, for MyGlam. Awesome things are kind of happening. Big things are happening, as you all know. So yeah, I think it just kind of it's a journey. But yeah, I didn't think that we'd have 88 million active users on a platform that we created. It's just mind-boggling. Like when you think about that, Plixo has 150,000 influencers who are on a platform that we created, that you guys marketed, right? That you guys wrote content for. So it's insane to think about the reach that happens over time. But yeah, I mean, immensely grateful and kind of really happy.
It has been a really lovely session, and you are getting a lot of compliments on today's session. People are loving this conversation. So I think we have taken a lot of questions and we have answered almost everything. So Vijay, I'm going to end this session and thank you so much for taking up the time to do this. Your whatever you say has been it's so informational and insightful, and I'm going to work towards this. I promise you. You're going to see updates on my LinkedIn.
Entire Popexo team to all of this now. I hope that they've been watching, and I really want to start seeing action happening on LinkedIn and on Instagram now.
Yeah, of course, you're going to see.
Tag your companies, right? Tag your companies, tag your friends, comment on each other's posts. Those are like basic hygiene things. If you do it and you don't get your friends to respond, then even you're missing a beat, right? So you can just say, hey guys, please, I've done this, go respond. You respond to each other. That's what builds up echo chamber and builds out this really kind of powerful ecosystem of people. So yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed this. We should probably do a topic like this again. This was good.
Yes, Vijay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.